Milazzo is the place in Sicily I know that it has most contradiction in Sicily. So you have the big oil refinery power plant there and a marine reserve here. And from the marine reserve to the power plant you have all the possible contradiction. In viability, in administration, in the way people live. People live pretty good with lots of problems, unemployment and all kind of problems. But still, there is a lot of possibilities for redesigning stuff.
We went to look at the old station, which is a abandoned train station. It was very beautiful with a lot of plants growing around it, and also some other empty buildings nearby. There was like an old chemical factory, and there's a lot of empty houses in the area. And so we started to think about how is it possible to make spaces be used. Would like to do a presentation which focuses on the things we learned about the local community, to present how the things we learned and how it appears to us, rather than focusing so much on a solution that we can really provide. And also we're like to do something around trust, because we think that building trust is maybe something that can solve these problems.
Yesterday we did something very different. We went to a village of Giampilieri. It suffered greatly in a flash flood. 40 people died, and the flood was so sudden that the village did not get a proper warning. Although when we were yesterday there, we realized that there had been about 20 minutes of rain coming in and people starting to realize that something might not be right. But nothing was done. So what we were doing yesterday in the village was to explore that could we build an early warning system for the village, that if something similar will happen in the future, the village can mobilize itself. But it's not only about the early warning, because as they were saying yesterday, that there is a siren, but nobody knows what happens if the siren goes off. So what we are looking to do is that, can we empower the community? Can we identify roles and peoples who can contribute to the safety of the village and create an escalation path, that if the early morning signs go off, is there something that can be done? Can the children run the streets and warn off the elders? Can the rescue workers already be assembled to the safety points and so forth?
We went to Messina, where there is a self-organized beer factory. It was made from 15 workers. They lost their job because Heineken acquired the factory they worked to and the brand name, Bira Messina, and they decided to start a cooperative where they can work together and create the beer based on local products and with a strong sense of community inside them. Everything works in cooperation, and they mentioned when they asked what are the three most important things for a cooperative to have in order to succeed, and the answer was courage, mind and heart. And this idea can open possibilities for a circular economic ecosystem in the area. So we asked a lot about how they operate internally and what are their relationships with the producers.
For me it's very important that when you try to go into this type of situation, you have situation awareness more valuable than information that you bring with you. So the exercise of extracting information taught us a lot of lessons about expectation, about where we take our information, about, you know, the different type of information you get if you speak the language and if you don't speak the language, if you have context, not context. There were lots of different strategies that have been put in place to arrive here at the last minute without knowing anything. That was more valuable for me than the ability of over-planning an operation.
In south of Italy, from Napoli down, if you meet someone on the street, you're supposed to talk, even if you don't know each other. So don't be shy, really, because people actually expect it from you. You know, if you look at each other, you can start a conversation.
Different from all the other programs I was following, where they followed always only the lean and agile approach, which is the new religion, and they had to, you know, follow this business line procedure, which I always feel like, I mean, I tried it many times, and every time I bounced against the wall. So now I know where is also my path, what is my path, and yeah, I'm happy I was here, so thank you.
I think what I enjoyed the most was that I had the chance to really have serious conversations with some important people in the field of co-op. And we had the chance to also come up with a completely new project that is actually, well, it is theoretically feasible, you know, it's not just something that we just had to present here and it was just you know, just another step. It's actually something that could be done, and I found this really amazing.
And maybe to ask some open questions to the community instead of putting a solution that we don't feel comfortable coming here for 2 days and saying, here you have your solution for your problems. We would rather prefer to open a conversation with them and see what it can inspire.
Thinking a lot about the ethical implications of being strangers and coming here for a couple of days and trying to figure out what all is here, what kind of needs we can fabricate in our minds, mostly, because we cannot absorb the truth and the actual things that are happening.
If you read the papers of human-centric design from the Commission, it's all very nice philosophy, even unrelated one to each other, and there is no practice. So we are creating the practice as we speak. We are trying to extract what it means to do human-centric design with open-source software and create communities around, seed communities, ideas around this type of activity.
If you build a team, it's always the same process. It's the forming, norming, storming, and performing. And then you end up in equilibrium. And when that equilibrium is tested, you end up always in the same process. Forming, norming, storming, and performing again. And every single pivot is that point. And every single pivot like that is a point that stresses your team to the limit. Some will leave, some will split. And it's much easier to leave and split at this stage than before your entire lives are invested and a lot of fortune is invested already, or 3 or 5 years of your life is invested already. Really not coming with a solution, but hearing out what are the conditions. I think that has been one of the most rewarding experiences I've had ever in my career life. Thank you for
What we're trying to do with technology is simply to recreate or help what you already know how to do. The values, creativity, solutions, you have. You can use tools, that's fine, but they shouldn't tell you what to do. So, this is what we have to offer.